The new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook Wild Game Recipes for the Grill, Smoker, Campfire, and Camp Stove is out on April 24th and is available for pre-order now. Here is your book for everything that's best cooked or eaten outside, from grilling to open fire cooking to Dutch ovens to smokers to barbecue to backpacking meals to how to pull off the perfect fish fry, with pit stops along the way for lessons about Ice Age cooking methods and the best 5 ways to construct a cooking fire you can be proud of. And of course, we're focusing on wild game and fish here with over 100 recipes, including stuffed venison burgers 3 ways, wild duck with ahi verde sauce, a jerky made with cola, a gin and tonic made with fire-charred lemons, and grilled frog legs made with a sticky sweet sauce. This ain't your normal cookbook, so be prepared to be surprised. Pre-order your copy now. For more info, visit themeateater.com.
Hey, I'm Tyler.
And I'm Casey.
And I'm Broadhead.
And I'm David.
And you're listening to
The
Element
Podcast.
What's happening, all my woods people? Today, we're sitting here, as you could probably tell in the intro, with a full-fledged crew of people. We've got Mr. Broadhead here. Mr. Broadhead, you have another alias you go by?
Yeah. I guess I'm just the cameraman, Eric.
Just the cameraman, Eric.
The cameraman, Eric.
Your shirt looks pretty cool, man.
You like that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty slick shirt.
Got that at firstlight.com.
Oh, dang, shameless
about that?
plug, dude. Do you work for them?
I don't know.
No, you don't.
See, I thought it was go further, stay longer, but it's go farther, stay longer. Further and farther are the
That's
same
just a
thing.
Southern thing.
Right?
Yeah, so I was thinking it was a Southern thing, too.
Further? If you
and
are.
A real Southerner will say furtherer.
Will they?
Yeah.
That ain't me.
No, you ain't a real Southerner, I guess.
know.
And you get them real
Thank
country
you.
dudes, they'll say furtherer. We've
And?
got a new guy here that you guys have never heard from. He likes to go by David, but his actual name is Michael. Michael, where are you from?
I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio. So, big deer country.
Oh, yeah.
What's the biggest deer you ever shot?
Inch-wise? Mm-hmm. No idea.
You don't measure them?
What's
I
your
never
guess?
have. I don't know. Probably like 120.
Yeah. With
Stud.
a bow?
Yep.
Really?
You ever shot one with a gun?
I've shot 1 deer with a muzzleloader. A doe when I was probably like 12.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, like last year.
Yep. About 6 months ago.
I'm going to keep that joke going all year.
Yeah. Michael David, how old are you?
22.
22.
Dang, dude, growing up before our eyes.
I know. You said full-fledged will ago, and I was like, well, we do have a fledgling here, but it's okay.
When's your birthday?
March 5th.
Golly, Social Security? Can you tell us that too?
No.
Good call. Good call.
Yeah.
I think people have multiple Social Security numbers from Ohio, Illinois, all up there.
Yeah.
So they can vote multiple
That's
times.
exactly right. Yeah, they can
Yeah.
put them on. They can
how we
do
do
2
it.
different ballots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. That's how they always are a swing state. Because
That's right.
everybody votes conservative and Democrat. Republican and Democrat, excuse
Speaking
me.
of swing, Michael's never played golf.
yeah.
Ever. Never swung a
But-
golf club?
It's going to be ugly.
State champion baseball player, right?
Yes, sir.
How about that? So,
Amazing.
what kind of a high school did you go to?
A absolutely humongous one.
Really?
Yep.
How about that, dude? That's a big deal.
How many people did you graduate with?
I think it was like 900.
Oh, my goodness.
Dang.
3,000 people in our school.
Dang.
It's a lot.
So that means y'all were just sophomore, juniors, and seniors in that school?
Nope.
Freshmen too?
Yep. Way overpacked.
Wow.
He was
Big
telling me he got a state champion ring.
Yeah, where is it?
Not here.
Golly,
Dadgummit.
dude.
That's cool, dude. I wanted one so bad when I was in high school. I just, for years after, we had this highlight video from my senior year. And for a couple of years, I just almost couldn't bear to watch the whole thing because I was just like, we were on the brink, man, of doing it, but we didn't do it. So, made me sad. But
I just kind of went through high school knowing I wouldn't get one, so it was fine.
yeah,
I'm with you.
yeah,
Wasn't that big of a deal, you
Yeah.
know? It was like,
We just
whatever.
wanted to win conference.
Yeah, we didn't even have conferences. We just wanted to win a game.
Yeah.
So,
no conference, huh?
no.
I think what Eric means is a district.
probably.
We had those.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked with him about, like, the way they did stuff up there.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. They have different – y'all have different rounds too. Like how many rounds are there in the playoffs?
In football, there's 5, I think. And then baseball and basketball is a little different. I think it's a little longer, and we never made it far enough for me to know that exact number.
You didn't lead the basketball team to state?
No.
Thought you were a baller, dude.
No. I could play now, but
Yeah.
not so much back then.
Man,
Really?
You could play now, but not in high school.
Because we just play a lot of pickup games,
Yeah.
throughout college and stuff. Pickup games outside. Like, we play a lot.
Gotcha.
Back home.
Are you a baller, Michael? David?
No. Do not put a basketball in my hands.
No?
Me neither.
You're just a
It's not
baseballer.
good.
Can you
Yep.
play football?
I mean, I could throw a football.
Yeah.
Catch a football, but
What position were you in baseball?
shortstop.
Short.
Did you start and win the state championship?
Well, I couldn't really hit, but I could play the field pretty well. So I
You got
started
DH'd?
at short, but I got DH'd.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. Wow, you're athletic.
I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Couldn't hit
I
a
mean,
ball, but yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
He was telling me he was a junk pitcher, too.
That was
yeah.
A
club.
lot of curveballs.
I did not touch the field as a pitcher during high school.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So you throw a knuckleball?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well?
No.
No?
I could throw
You
one,
just
though.
throw it? That's kind of me, too. Like, I could throw one, but it's no telling where it's going to go.
I just
and-
learned how to throw a curveball really early and stuck on that.
Yeah. How old were you when you learned the curveball?
Probably like 12. My
Is that
shoulders-
too early?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was thinking,
Definitely
Like
too
it
early.
hurts your arm because it's you or what? Like
My
what?
shoulder is pretty messed up
too. Yeah.
at the moment. So
We were talking about this at the Ranger game the other night of like how do you just start throwing a slider? And,
Yeah.
just go in the backyard and start
Yeah, like-
twisting the ball.
So, okay, this is what we were talking about, too. And you may be able to answer this. Some guys in the MLB, like, are kind of a fastball and curveball pitcher and changeup, whatever, But, like, those are their main – that's like their off speed is their curveball. And then some guys don't throw a curveball at all and throw a slider. Why? And is it just because they learned that pitch and
It
could
has
do
a
it better?
lot to do with how your arm's angled. So some guys, they just can't get the ball to twist over top.
Yeah.
And it just goes to the side.
Okay,
And that's a
that's
slider.
exactly what I was thinking, too.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same
Because
thing.
it's technically the same pitch. It's just the ball is on a different plane.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're just
Gotcha.
spinning the ball as hard as they can with their
That's
arm.
that's exactly what I was thinking the other night, but we couldn't answer it. We were like, I don't know what that is, but because they had a guy come in that was kind of sidearm me through a slider, and I was
Yep.
like, well, that makes sense,
Dude, I love those like intense slide arm pitchers. I hate trying to hit off one, but like the Rangers used to have a guy, I can't remember his name, but like he was throwing the ball below his knee,
That's
And it was
so is
so
a sidearm.
cool.
So I call that a submarine.
That'd be
pitcher.
submarine too.
Yeah,
in
submarine,
mine.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
those are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No, they're not.
yeah. But those guys like don't wear out as fast too, right? Isn't that a thing? Like it's a more natural movement or something like that?
So
I always heard the submarine guys wore out faster.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
I actually had a friend who was on my high school team, went to play college ball and pitched his overhand his whole life, but like screwed up his shoulder. But then he was able to throw submarine in college and switch to that.
So it makes
because of-
sense though. Like I said, I heard that, but I mean that's maybe like somebody just telling you not to be a goofball and throw it that way, But like that's the case with softball. Like they can pitch like every game in softball
Yeah.
because the motion is less taxing on their body or whatever.
Which is weird because dragging that back leg seems like it would hurt me real bad. You know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Gotta
know.
have flexible hips.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Dak.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott's thing looks like the finish of a
Yeah.
softball pitch kind of. Yeah.
Well, it gets him paid for sure.
Manolo.
Oh, yeah.
Remember I was telling you about Manolo. Manolo teaches golf. And
Oh yeah.
he talks about the hips a lot too. His thing is pee-pee to the pin. that's how you get a good swing. Just swing and pee-pee to pin.
I thought that was a sandwich from Jimmy John.
Probably.
Pee-pee.
That's funny. Well, Michael is going to be hunting with us a lot this fall. Michael is going to help us out on camera and do a lot of the other work around here, making sure the element flies, man. So it's good news because Michael actually seems to be pretty smart. That's what I learned this week. So he can do it, I think. All right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, good.
Glad
That's
that
what
was your first impression of me.
Yeah. Well, it was my
Usually
first
isn't.
impression. first impression was like, man, this guy's skinny. But after that, no, it was funny, dude. Like, because you remember they all came down for film school this spring early, right? And Brian went and picked up these two guys at the airport, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was just like a funny thing where we like picked them up at the intersection of the highway down there or whatever, and it was like, who are these jokers getting in the truck? It was cool stuff, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always cool to just start, like, I don't know. You and I were talking about this stuff the other day, but like, I grew up kind of hunting by myself a lot actually, and you did too. Like just kind of doing not like the lone wolf thing, but like kind of that way, right? Like you just do your own thing and hunt or whatever. But like, there's a lot of fun that
Better
gets
be
had.
Easy with those Plan B comments, man.
There's no, man. That's how you get the comments.
Comment for comment.
That's right, dude. There's a lot of fun. Like it's added a lot of fun to my hunting life by getting to hang out with dudes and do stuff. And we already kind of started doing that stuff together. So what are you laughing at now, Mr. Noseblow?
Hanging out with dudes,
That's
man.
right,
That's
dude.
your favorite. Because remember how you used to love it when I would say trying to get away from dudes on public land in that video?
These dudes always chasing you, bro.
Well, you like hanging with dudes, so we're just one and the same.
That's right, dude. We
Yeah.
are. Peas and carrots.
Peas and carrots,
The
man.
OGs. The buck truck getting it done.
That's it, dude.
That's it.
Gosh, give me that,
Give
dude.
me that. Yes. So we had, they didn't know it, but it was a competition for sure.
Last night?
Last night. Yeah, absolutely. It was blown competition.
Full-fledged blown.
Broadhead.
That's it. That's from now on. That's what we do. Should we enlighten people or just keep that
just
on the
tell them
inside?
that story.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Eric, we were doing that video. If y'all follow on social on Insta, we did a reel where it was to help First Light with that sale they just got done with. I'm sure nobody has seen that they were doing a sale this week.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
Anyway, so we had this like video where we do this deal, and KC ends up being Farmer Fran from Waterboy or whatever at the end of it. Well, Eric's part is supposed to be talking about a deer that's standing broadside, and he said that deer's standing broadhead, and we just jumped around the house, dude. It was so good.
Oh, it was funny because we could tell that Eric was like, you weren't nervous about the lines, but you were
Just
like
mixing 'em
anxious
up.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was working so hard. Like I could tell watching it, he was like making sure he's saying things right. And just Broadhead just came out smooth as butter.
Dude, it was smooth, man. I could see on his face where his head just all of a sudden he just like closed his eyes and squinted them and like shook his head real fast. And was like, oh, I did not just do that.
Yeah. Because Eric has been around long enough to learn that like, you don't just get to say something and make a mistake and it just go away around here. It's there for forever.
Yep.
Yep.
Broadhead,
man.
So anytime y'all mess up something, just say Broadhead real quick.
That's going to be my new nickname, I think.
That's it,
Broadhead.
dude. Oh, Broadhead. I like it.
Better than Pencil Neck.
That's right, for sure. So who's Pencil Neck?
I'm just saying a Broadhead is better than a Pencil Neck. You know what I mean? So
That's right. Yesterday, we decided to sweat. It was a good idea.
it was.
It went well.
Lost weight yesterday.
It didn't actually end up doing too bad. I wasn't like super hot the whole time.
No, I was just in a constant state of my shirt is soaked.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like dripping.
You
too
dripped
much.
a little bit.
Yeah,
I got it on film.
But dude, it ain't nothing compared to what I can normally drip if I want to.
Yeah. So here's the extent of things, guys. Tyler and KC can run a camera still, but we are rusty.
Yeah, it ain't like riding a bike.
Nah,
is
it ain't like riding a bike. It is kind of like riding a bike. Like you can ride a bike, but if you want to pop a wheelie, it takes a little something extra.
Yep,
you know
yep.
what I mean? And that's kind of where we're at. So, Michael, who I might call David from time to time because it started out as a joke and now it's hard to actually call him Michael because Brian was calling him David at the beginning and no one even knows where that came from, right? It's
I don't
just
think
Old
anybody knew
Testament
who he was
Bible
talking
names.
about.
I know,
at one
exactly.
point. Like when he kept saying Dave, you just be like, yeah.
He was blending Greg and Michael. We didn't have a clue.
Oh yeah, David Greg. David Michael Greg is what we ended up. Before Michael got here, we were saying David Michael Greg just to It didn't matter if it was you or Greg we were talking about. We just said David, Michael, Greg, and Brian knew we were talking about somebody.
Yeah. So
oh my goodness,
we decided to pair off with the OGs versus the new Gs.
This is just like Oklahoma.
I know.
We called our team the Midwesties. So.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Midwesties are down.
You can call them the Centrals?
No. Midwesties
I figured
better.
you call them the Centrals. You're from Central, right?
Well, Central,
I don't know.
East, Western,
I thought you were from
Central.
Central?
Central,
He's close
Western
enough.
Illinois.
You're from Central,
Am I?
right?
I guess.
Southern.
Are you not
Could you-
from, you're from
Oh,
Southern?
Central Ohio. Yeah.
So Columbus is Central.
That's
it's
a
not Southern.
Midwest thing, dude.
Yeah.
If you're from
Like
a
right in the
Midwestern
middle.
state, you say you're from the central part of the state.
Here's the thing: when you look at Texas versus Ohio, pretty much in the center of Ohio. If
You
you're
could
there,
be like the whole state of Ohio would fit in Central Texas. Where is Central Texas?
I
for
mean,
those
to
listening.
me, it's Austin and West a little bit, right?
That's Central Texas?
Yeah.
See, I think Central Texas starts in Waco and goes south
Well,
probably to
I'm not
Austin.
just saying. Like it goes south of Austin and a little bit,
It's
and
the
it
hill
goes north
country,
of
but also
Austin.
like some more that like
Stephenville,
Savannah Plain
stuff,
type stuff.
kinda?
Yeah. That's Central Texas. So, yeah, probably the whole state of Ohio would fit in Central Texas, I think.
believe it.
Something like that. But anyway, so the Midwesterners.
So it's hard not to live in Central. Like as long as you're not living real close to the edge in a little state, you can just call it Center.
Pretty much, you're from
But
Central.
like it'd take 2 hours to get to the east side of Texas from here, but we can't call ourselves Central. You know
we
what
also
I mean?
can't call ourselves East Texas. So we have to be Northeast
weird.
Texas.
Yeah, it
We're from
is.
Northeast Texas.
Yep.
How many states do you have to put the descriptor?
People do it, man.
Yeah.
Lincoln Head over here, Broadhead Lincoln.
We just Lincoln.
I don't think we had the Northwest and Northeast. We just say East
Central. Yeah.
So it's
See?
more like EC.
See,
Yeah,
it's
East
not-
Central.
WC.
They got to get Central in
SC.
there somewhere.
It's a thing,
It's a
dude.
given, right?
Central. The
Eastern
Centennial Central.
Illinois. Everybody, I'm from Northern Central Illinois. I'm from Eastern Central Illinois.
I'm kind of from South Central
South
Rains
Central
County.
Illinois. Yeah, exactly. So the Midwesties, what did you call yourselves?
Yeah,
Midwesties.
Midwesties.
Okay. Versus the OGs, went out and did some hog hunting yesterday, and the OGs almost didn't hunt, which we still would have tied if that would have happened. So in the future, we can take it easy and still tie.
Oh, we're up one, right? So
Yeah. So
actually, we're up two, aren't we?
we had another birthing false alarm for about an hour yesterday. So
Casey ate a lot before.
didn't know if my wife was about to need to go to the hospital or not. Ended up not needing to go to the hospital. So where we go hog hunt sometimes doesn't have cell phone service. I guess I could just say cell service. But I like the phrase cell phone.
I was not going to say anything, but I was thinking it for sure.
I also like to call them cell phone cameras.
Yeah, cellular, mobile phone cameras.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's right. Eric and I went down this place a couple weeks ago and left our stuff in the tree. We were hunting out of saddles, and we had those cruiser platforms up there and sticks and stuff, and we decided to not take them down because, hey, the hogs will be back here. We'll shoot them again next time.
So you said,
Dude, you think a saddle is like an easy thing, and then you leave it in the tree, and you're like, man, it just don't get any better. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like when you get to even though a saddle is easy to hang, when you get to leave one, that's just a beautiful
The platform?
moment.
Yeah.
and it sticks and everything.
Yeah, you just walk up there and just clip, and you're in,
Yeah.
and you're there, dude.
That-
It's nice.
that is
I
good.
love leaving stuff in the tree.
Never get to, man.
No.
So that's one thing I always do is like when I'm like if I see the day wrapping up and I'm like, man, no deer around, I'm gonna look at my phone real quick and see what the weather is, and then if I think I should stay here tomorrow because the wind's gonna be good.
did we do that in Colorado last year on the day you killed? Did we leave our stuff?
I feel like we did.
I feel like we did too.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, because we were there the night before hunting that buck across the river, right?
Yeah.
And then left it, and then
Yep.
Honestly, the platform isn't that big of a thing to hang, but 3 or 4 sticks is kind of a pain and noisy.
Yeah, and the
I don't-
noise.
I don't really
It was
care.
quiet that morning too.
There's a way to hang them and be very quiet, and we kind of always balance speed and stealth when we're doing this stuff. But like, you're going to make a little noise when you hang your sticks unless you
Yeah.
just take so much tedious time, and
Well-
it's not really worth it. So like, even just having a second set of sticks in the truck is a nice thing for that, because you can take your platform down and then, go down your sticks, leave them in the tree. And then if you're going to hunt somewhere else tomorrow or something, you can either go on the ground or go hang a different set, but then come back the next evening and have your sticks hung and just, go up the tree platform and then you're done. It's pretty nice system.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter how slow you are, especially if you're talking about a morning hunt in the dark, like hanging those sticks, man. Like you're going to have, even if it's cold, especially, like you're gonna have clothes on that are gonna catch the bark and all this stuff.
And it's
man.
always quiet in the mornings, dude.
It is, dude.
Like I know that we are gonna talk about hog hunting, but we can get twisted off on this mobile hunting strategy stuff pretty quick. Like in general, on a hunting trip, I almost am a hunt on the ground in the morning, hunt in the saddle in the afternoon kind of guy, unless my stuff is pre-hung. Like I did a lot of that last year, and I didn't set out to do it, but it just happened a whole lot, and it works pretty good because you go in, depending on what time of year it is, 2 p.m. It's usually fairly there's some breeze, some wind noise to hang your sticks and set up, and you're fine. But you go in at 4:30 a.m. or 5 or whatever it is, it's usually really still. There might be deer within 100 yards of you, and you're banging around with a light and just trying to get stuff up in a tree, and Tyler's already sleeping.
You just reminded me of how tired I am right now. I just
just wait. We're about to start getting up way earlier.
You reminded me how many times I actually did hang in the mornings this year, which was a lot.
On Arkansas, y'all hung every morning.
Arkansas, Colorado, we hung a couple times. We hung in Colorado the first trip. We hung in Kansas almost every day in the morning. I was hanging a different set almost every day in Kansas as well, which is like an 11-day trip. You and me didn't have to hang in Oklahoma that much. South Dakota, I hung in the mornings, a lot of the mornings, because you and Hunter kind of would switch off in the mornings.
I had COVID. COVID had slow feet. I mean, Hunter had slow feet.
He's the same as COVID.
Yeah, that's right.
He infects you, and not very efficient.
So we just kind of sat in the truck and drank honey coffee and watched deer.
And then when he finally decided to go hunt in the morning, old Tej is camera guy, so has to go with him.
Yeah, and y'all killed a deer because you made him do it. How about that?
I was tired, and I'm tired thinking about it.
That's why our buddies like Zach and them THP boys like to ground hunt, I think. It's because they can get out of the truck in the daylight.
Yeah. Get up kind of late, get some coffee. Zach's going to, bug his eyes out and say, let's hunt. And then
go crazy.
Yeah. And then they're going to do their thing. So,
yeah. And then we just go in real early and spend an hour looking up at the tree, finding the right one to hang in and not see anything. So, let's see. How many deer were killed from the Element crew last year?
Dadgummit. I killed
13
4.
or 14?
How many did you kill? 3?
I killed
3 bucks?
3 bucks.
I killed 4 bucks. Hunter killed a couple hundred, I think. But
killed
we only
and recovered is different.
Hunter found 2 bucks, right?
I believe
South
so.
Dakota.
Texas and South Dakota.
And Texas.
Which those are all in October. So
Chris killed a buck.
Long couple months, yeah.
That's
Chris
10
was
or 11, right?
That's 11, I think.
No, that's 10.
Okay.
That's 10. And then did anybody else? Do we know anybody else that killed? I guess that's it.
That's it.
Killed
Brian
10.
killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't
technically
filming and everything.
filming.
Yeah.
So of those, you killed morning once, evening 3 times?
Well,
South Dakota morning.
Kansas buck was morning technically. It was before noon.
That's right. That's kind of how my Kansas was too.
But yeah, it was a spot and stall. It was different. As far as hangs go, I killed 2. What deer did I shoot?
Colorado, you shot in the afternoon.
No, morning.
That was morning?
Yeah.
Dang, look at you. Morning, man.
I tell you, I hung a bunch in the mornings this year, dude.
That's wild.
I hung a lot of sets this year. Colorado was morning, South Dakota was morning, and Nebraska was evening. I feel better going in evenings. I like them better, but there's a couple of things that you enlightened me to, like the fact that in hotter weather, those mornings are cooler. So, I don't know. I'm hoping that it's not just like a coincidence and I'm getting better at this thing, right? That's kind of the goal for all of us, right? We're listening to a podcast right now. We're listening probably to maybe hear a story, but also to get better at hunting.
I think people listen to laugh at our accents a
maybe
lot.
that's probably
I really do, dude. I think it happens.
Well, I feel like you telling me that and me going in and hunting way back in some thick stuff in South Dakota and Colorado has helped me.
Dude,
You rethink some stuff going along the way.
We need to do like a whole podcast on like that South Dakota type thing that you went in and picked a spot in the dark in the morning using Onyx and like habitat features. And what, the buck was 23 yards, right?
Yeah, I shot him top pin.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was shooting a slow bow. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I felt confident that he was right there at 20.
Yeah.
Somewhere. I think 23 was about right.
Yeah. And that's just so cool.
That's what I guessed him for, I guess. And smoked him pretty good. Yeah. Oh, man. When they just go 20 yards and then like they stop and start doing some weird stuff, that is a good feeling.
Didn't that one fall over and then get back up and y'all freaked out?
Yeah. I was like, this, of course, Eric was brand new, first kill, right? But he was freaking out because he knew he wasn't in focus on this deer or whatever. So he was struggling. But I was watching this buck. He goes down there, whatever, falls over. I'm like, yeah, I like do this real stupid thing, whatever that I look dumb celebrating on TV or whatever. And then I look over at Eric or whatever. When I look back, I heard something or something. I look back, and that buck was standing up and like going again. I was like, what is going on? Zombie over here.
He was going.
He was going. And he ran a couple steps and then crashed again. I was like, oh, thank you.
Yes. So. Yeah, that'd freak you out for sure. Dude, most people shoot animals and then they don't see them fall most of the time, right? And I bet you if we could all see the animal as it's expiring, like we would all freak out. Not because it's like morbid, but just because like I bet that happens a lot. Things like that happen. We just aren't there to see it very much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Oklahoma, you're probably just more in shock than anything. I bet.
Dude. Dude. Yeah.
Y'all just wait.
That's gonna be good.
Yeah. Got a couple more months, maybe.
That's an evening hunt.
Yeah, it was.
And alas, this was the evening hunt last night. We went in.
We being the team OGs.
Yeah. So, Eric, what was your setup?
In the same tree me and you hung in, and you knew it wasn't very good. So
that's not true.
That's why you sent me there.
That all makes sense.
We wanted... I knew that Tyler and I were going to kill some pigs, but I thought that you were too. So there's just like this thing where like you are newer at hunting than we are.
Yes.
Not that you're a tiny little babe, but
TLB.
It would be great for you to be able to like have a very controlled situation to shoot in, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Yeah, and you agreed with this, right? Yeah. So like hunting from a saddle, shooting pigs under a feeder is very much that. Known distances, nothing crazy going on. You can draw your bow very easily, not worry about getting caught too much, and that's what we're trying to get you to be able to do. And wouldn't you know, the pigs came in about 30 minutes after you all left, right? So,
what's also cool with that though?
What's that?
It gives an intern a really good opportunity to film a really big buck.
That is cool.
Talk about that, man. How'd that all
it wasn't long after we got set up. I mean, like right when we got set up, there's 3 bucks came. I think they crossed our path walking in because when I saw one of them, he was pretty much high alert from the get-go. And he was kind of looking around. He knew we were in there, and he didn't, like, run off and blow, but, like, he did the whole, I'm going to turn around and get out of here. And the other 2 followed him. And so...
They run or just walk fast?
That one, he kind of just walked fast, and the other 2 kind of just walked slowly off.
We call that a rob. Run off and blow.
I like that.
Got robbed today.
Robbing buck out there.
But after that, we had, of course, the 2 raccoons came in, started feasting. And
I love it.
And then, not long after that, I think you may have spotted them first, right, Michael?
Yep. I just looked up and saw antlers coming through the trees.
And then I saw the antlers. I was like, that's the big one.
Yeah.
And
You didn't go into like instinctive hunter mode at that point in time?
I wanted to.
Dude, he grabs his bow, clips on,
Start using my rangefinder on you know?
You hear the buzz.
getting all your spots.
But still trying to get better at judging deer size, but I think he was like 145.
I think that's about right.
Yeah.
They have velvet right now, so it's a little tough. They, they have a little more mass than what he's going to probably be pretty thin when he sheds his velvet, I think.
Yeah.
But, biggest buck you've ever been close to, right?
Yeah, well, inside 20 definitely.
Yeah.
Because his buck in, last November was a lot bigger.
Yeah, sure. And that deer's probably about where my Kansas buck was last year, but you couldn't really see him when I shot him too much.
right.
You know, it's a different situation with the spot and stalk. But, like, how long was that deer there?
Good 20 minutes. I mean, just sitting there feeding under the feeder.
Did you ever get like the heart thing going? Like,
No.
were you ever heart
I
beating?
did.
You did? Yeah.
Oh, I did.
I could
Yeah,
tell, dude. Like, you've been here since Monday,
Yep.
and last night was Thursday, and I haven't seen your eyes that wide in one time. And, like, dude, when y'all knocked on the window, our truck was parked by theirs or whatever, and when I opened the window, I looked over, and Michael's eyes were round as they get, dude. It was awesome.
Yeah, dude. It was hilarious that, I don't know, you can just, like, feel that, like, oh, yeah, or whatever. So that was your first time in a tree filming stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Well, other than the camera arm not working, it was pretty good.
I'm actually glad that, like, we didn't just give you everything that worked right.
Yeah, right. Now it's going to be easy.
Yeah, well, that, and then you can also see, like, oh, it's important that, like, I make sure these little things are done and it works and all that kind of stuff.
Also, you learn that, like, what is going on inside of that camera arm, like, because that's something that we've had to put together. And if we just hand you a camera arm that's ready to rock, then one day you're going to end up like, what is going on? This head's not working or whatever.
I mean, I didn't even realize what was going on. So I learned something.
It's good. It's good to get that out on pigs, especially, because, nobody wants to watch a pig video except for, 1 million people?
That's right. We look at things so inversely sometimes. Eric, does it feel good to call someone an intern?
Yeah.
I noticed that a while ago.
Dang, dude, strong arm, man.
I know, dude. It's cool. Head of production, Eric Gentry.
That's right, HOP.
That's right, dude.
IHOP.
Old Broadhead.
No, Broadhead himself.
Oh, that's funny. So, you liked the filming?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Oh, yeah. That got me going last night.
Is that the biggest deer you're going to get on film this year?
I hope not.
Let's go, dude. Ohio.
Yeah, dude. That's
Showing what's
exciting. Yeah. So, y'all sadly had no swine encounters last night.
But you did hear one of them swines whine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure what it was, but definitely heard something. Michael hasn't really heard a lot of pigs, but he thought it was one, and I thought it was one. But to me, it sounded like one getting shot.
Have you ever heard a jackalope in the rut? Like what noise they make?
Man. Oh,
It could have been that.
Pretty similar to that.
Yeah,
right?
pretty similar.
Don't say it yet. We'll have to bring this story up later. This needs to hang on for a little bit.
We were about a half mile from these guys, which in some woods is pretty far. Down there, it's not super far because it's all pretty flat, river bottom stuff. So there's a possibility that like we could hear each other. And we heard some people yelling at one point in time. So we thought that Eric shot a pig and they watched it fall or something crazy happened and that he was just freaking out in the stand.
Yeah, it's weird to hear stuff down there, too, because you are not near a lot of people in that area.
Yeah.
So,
it's strange.
yeah, there's somebody down there on their side-by-side, I bet.
Yeah, something was going on. But you and I decided to go do the old spot and stalk because it was a place that we hadn't really been to. A buddy of ours has a feeder that he runs down there and said that the hogs have been coming to most every evening. So we're thinking, okay, this sounds like it could be a thing, but we don't really know what direction they're coming from too much or what the wind is going to be doing there and what tree is a good tree to hang in. So one of our tactics on these pigs a lot of times is to kind of sit back a couple 100 yards, watch them come in, and then stalk in close. And that was kind of our approach. But you got down there and we're like ready to shoot at stuff right away.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Coyote Hunter here told me that there was a coyote on my 3 o'clock at one point. We had stopped to like pee or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I heard something, and KC heard it. So we look over, and I think I was still peeing or something. And you're like, there's a coyote on your right. And I was like, dang, so I'm like, trying to get ready, but I can't see this thing. I'm trying to get my arrows off and everything arrow off the quiver and all that. And long story short, you ended up telling me it was at my 3 o'clock. That helped me out a lot. I saw him finally, and I was like, how far is this thing? And he's like 30 yards. Like, gummit. So anyway, I get repositioned and squeak him or draw back and then squeak him. And I judged him for 40. It was a pup, so not tiny, but it was it's getting closer to full size now. And it stopped at 37, and I let it go at 40, and I'm not sure that thing didn't duck my arrow because I felt real good about it, and the arrow went really just dead nuts left and right, but sailed over his head.
They are good at jumping strings. Real good.
Dude, that one pig or coyote that you shot in 2016 there at Babylon, that sucker ducked right into
it. I probably would have missed him if he would have stood there.
It was like perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I did that. And the arrow, I heard it hit what I thought was a tree. It ended up hitting a log right beside the tree. And so I was like, man, let's just not go in there. Like the grass is so crunchy right now. I mean, it is just crisps. Anyway, we decided to get the arrow on the way out so that we could just continue stalking down and not make a big ruckus down in there. Dave, I know what you're thinking. So anyway, so we decided to keep walking down this like shredded lane or whatever, and basically just work our way all the way down real slowly. Some deer come out. We try not to spook them. They won't go away, so we just start walking at them because they're down in the lane. And they finally kind of bounce off, and I figured they were going to this feeder that was going down there. We had a camera going down there, and I figured they were going to that feeder, so I figured that's where it was. Neither one of us had seen the feeder yet. And finally, I locate the feeder, and those deer, we get a little bit closer, and I see those deer just hanging there still. And then I see something like running, and I thought deer at first, but then I was like, those are pigs for sure. And I said pigs. And then the deer start running. KC's like, you sure those aren't pig or deer? So I was like, well, I don't know. And then finally they come. Then they come into another gap, and I was like, no, they're pigs for sure. And I pointed at them or whatever. And he goes, yeah, they are. So we like kind of started making a quick, brisk blitz for this a BB feeder. Yeah, that's a QBB. And we get like. The pigs are about to come out. We're trying not to get seen, obviously, in this lane, so we kind of get on the edge, so we're not just walking down the middle of the lane and you're next to the grass or whatever. And I can see kind of the feeder pretty good at this point. I'm trying to range stuff, but I can't range the feeder because all I can see is the legs of it, basically. So I'm like ranging trees that I think are in there, like real close to where they're going to come through. And then I'm like, oh, man, that's 80. I'm like, all right. And at this point, they're running, so we think they are spooked potentially. Yes. But because they're coming at the feeder, so I'm kind of like confused. I'm thinking for sure there's a chance they're not spooked, but there is a chance they are.
The wind was real willy down in there. And I thought when we saw them running, I was like, oh, they smelled us.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah. Well, turns out they didn't, and they come across at 80, and I was like, and they go straight to the feeder, and so which is kind of on the edge of the lane, pretty close. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to let them be calm and not shoot at any of them and let them come by. And so I'm kind of like getting my ranges, whatever other ranges I can get. I think actually I was still ranging trees and stuff because they had all gone through. And I was getting ready to get up and walk. KC goes, there's one more coming from the right. And I was glad he said that because I would have been walking up in the looking like Sasquatch in the middle of this lane. And instead, a big one comes out, and I actually ranged it, and it was 80 yards. And so, anyway, long story short, we work our way up on these pigs to slowly to 37. Casey's getting cool footage of these things, like just screaming and fighting at each other and stuff. And we get into 37, and I was like, man, I can get closer, but I've been shooting out to 95. I actually shot out to 106, I think, the other day. And I'm like, I've been shooting pretty good and a lot. And so I was like, I feel like, we're here. Footage is good. Let's just shoot at 37. I can do it, right? Well, the one I'm wanting to shoot is like the dominant pig. It's the tallest, biggest one in there. And so it's sitting right underneath the feeder, and it's just doing this constant like spin game of warding off all these like subordinate
looks like
pigs.
a grizzly on a kill warding wolves off.
Yeah. I mean, just like constant. So actually, probably a bad decision to shoot that pig, but I wanted to shoot the big one. So of course,
Why do you think it's a bad decision to shoot that pig?
I think I should have shot a more calm pig on the outskirts of the feeder. Probably that was still a pretty solid pig. We talked about potentially shooting the gray one. And then
the cameraman hunter interaction is pretty important with pigs.
Yeah.
Because they're all shooters, first of all. So it's not like, whenever, say, a bachelor group of bucks comes in, you kind of know which, like, it ain't too hard to put the order of importance down on all four of them, you know, like, but
for bucks following a doe, like, probably not going to shoot the doe.
not shooting the doe. So like the communication there is a pretty like tough thing to do. You tell me the biggest one or the great one, and I'm like, well, which one's the biggest one? I can't see as much as you can.
And finally, I said the tallest one.
Yeah,
that one
I
right there
could
in the feeder.
tell after that, but it took a little bit. But it's just in general, pigs are kind of difficult to hunt and film with a bow because they just are black things. And just hard to see.
And a lot of them look the same. So we did figure out that we were going to get a shot at the big one, it looked like. But I kind of had to wait because it was just doing so much, like, twirling and fending off and all this and that, and they were just super amped up in there. And like I said, I should have shot a different pig, but instead I kind of rushed my shot a little bit because that pig was moving so much, and you want to shoot the pig before it moves from the spot that's, where you want to shoot it. And so this thing is like quartering away, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to shoot it there before it moves pretty much. So I shoot, and basically I go right of where I wanted to hit a touch. And this pig is looking to the right, quartered away. But it goes through the pig, and they take off running.
Through it, huh?
Oh, yeah.
What broadside were you using?
Oh, just a big old monster 3-blade. But I didn't go through a ton, and this is something I want to talk about here in a little bit. We'll revisit it at the end of the story. But basically, go through the pig, runs off with a bunch of them. Well, like a group of like 4 takes off to the right and actually gets out in the lane with us and starts going down the lane. I'm like, I can shoot a long ways at these things. So I'm just waiting on them to stop. And they're not going fast. They don't know what's going on, but they're going. They were going. And so I knock another arrow, and I'm like trying to see if they'll stop, but also keep an eye on the big group of pigs. So in between all this, we kind of lose exactly where that big group went. And
they all kind of split out different directions.
Yeah.
Because quite a few of them went the direction the pig you shot, and then this is a group of like 12 or 15. There's a lot of pigs, right? So they just kind of almost spiderweb out from that feeder when you shoot.
Well, I don't get a shot the ones that go down the lane, and then everything kind of calms down, and you can just see it on film. I do this a lot, but I'm just like, do the Tyler, I hate myself face, And
I didn't even catch the real good one.
Yeah, I was mad because I hit right, and I knew exactly where that thing came out. Now that I look back at it, I knew exactly where it came out, but it just didn't. It just surprised me the way that it happened. And I'll talk about why that is in a second. But basically, the pig's gone, everything settles down, and me and KC go over there to the feeder. We find the arrow. It's got bubbles on it. And we're like, this looks pretty good. And, we watched the footage back, which is a cliche thing to talk about when you're, doing outdoor productions. But so we try not to talk about it. We did actually look at the footage, and it looked like it hit in a pretty good spot. But it definitely like zipped through quick. And so we end up from there, like this is the worst type of country to track stuff in.
Oh, man.
I mean, there's like all kinds of different size of grass, but it's also just like all the same too. The whole Like everything down in that river bottom is very similar. So there's no landmarks. There's no reason for them to go here as opposed to 12 yards over there or 12 yards on the other side.
There's small
or
game
whatever.
trails everywhere headed to that feeder. None of them are like the major trails. There's it's like there's a bunch of trails, but there's no trail at the same time. And
It's almost like when we go hunting this stuff on public around here, like DMA is what you have to track off of. It's like this, we call these areas like deer movement areas where you can just be like, I'm pretty sure this is where they would go because that just looks like the path of least resistance or whatever. And that's what we were tracking off of. And we're just kind of cutting back and forth real slow because it wasn't going to bleed. It was a touch higher than it should have been, but it really wasn't bad if I'd had a different angle. But anyway, we were hoping that it would bleed, but we knew it would be a minute before it did probably. So we kind of like work our way down. We're just cutting back and forth across all the trails that they could have taken and didn't find any blood. And I went back to the spot where I shot from and tried to see where they went in. And I could see where I was like, well, I pretty much can't see anything else other than right there. So I knew that it was in that close in that area. And we kind of worked back out there. We're doing it again. It's getting a little bit darker. And I'm just kind of like, man, we have done this a couple of times this summer, and I'm just put out, dude.
I hate tracking pigs, dude.
It's terrible.
And it doesn't hardly ever pay off. Like,
No.
They are tough animals.
Dude, this is one thing I was thinking about this morning. I was telling them, a pig, these pigs were like real thin coated, but a pig almost always has a layer crusted cake mud on them. And you know what happens when blood hits that mud? Soaks in immediately.
Absolutely.
They don't have slick coats like deer. And when you start tracking a deer, you see these drops because it's dropping off this slick coat. These pigs, like the mud is eating all the blood. And like you saw it with the boar that I shot, right? Like, I mean, these things are, not dripping blood hardly
They're like
at all.
somewhat have a sponge on the outside of their bodies that the blood has to make it through before it can drip off.
Yeah.
Whereas like a deer almost has like that water shedding type coat. So like you can walk up to a deer, it had like its exit hole have blood dripping out of it, and none of the hair have any blood on it because it just sheds off of it.
It's like duck back or whatever. Yeah. And so we're not finding blood, and I'm just like, I'm getting put out.
I was
like,
mad.
Me too. I was like, we've made like some cool footage of pigs this summer that I think people would really enjoy, and I have had fun doing it. But like in the end, I still want to find the pig, and like we tend to take back straps and shoulders and stuff like that, depending on what the pig's shape is and looks like and everything, because that's camp meat. The back strap's awesome. I mean, on the grill, and so
it's tasty.
We do
like
that a
better
lot.
Than a chicken nugget.
Yeah, and so we do that a lot. Not always, but we do it a lot. And so I like finding the pig, right? And there's just some closure to that, but and like some validity for yourself, just to have confidence that you can go kill things. Like when it comes to deer.
There's
and
a
stuff
learning
like that.
aspect of this stuff too, where it's like, a hog and a deer have fairly similar vitals. They're both ungulates, right? So they're a lot alike. And so like you want to know about these shot angles and hits and stuff because you're only going to kill. I mean, the average person is going to kill 15 deer in their lifetime. It depends on does and all that kind of stuff. But I just say bucks, right? Like how many people are going to kill more than 15 bucks in their lifetime? It's
you got to be pretty hardcore about it.
Yeah, I think
there's probably a lot listening to this podcast, but there's a lot more people out there that don't really care about deer
if you listen to
that
this podcast,
much.
You're above average, guys.
Yeah.
Way to go.
There you go.
But like, there's just so many opportunities you have to learn about shot placement on a live animal, and pigs are a huge opportunity for that. And you can't learn the full extent of the knowledge unless you find the animal.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, like, I'm thinking about this and watching that video last night, like, I've learned quite a bit from this experience. But anyway, we get to basically where we get off this flat, like a little over 100 yards maybe, or about 100 yards, that you see in these river bottoms, there's just like little low spots or whatever. So we see this dip, and it turns into palmettos a little more.
LLS?
Yeah, and there's palmettos, and there's honeysuckle and greenbrier. It's a little thicker right there, right? It's not so much like clear river bottom, big trees or whatever. And I'm standing there, and Casey's like 50 yards from me, and we're just kind of like
looking for blood.
I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm not going to look much longer.
We've
maybe another 20 minutes.
To like the perimeter of what would be efficient, like just grid search.
Yeah.
Once you get to that thicket, it's like you're not grid searching anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're standing there. He's like 50 yards from me, and I'm standing by this big palmetto bush that's like 5 yards in front of me. And I hear something, and I look up, and there's a pig walking right to left at like 15 yards, going right behind, about to go behind the palmetto bush, like just completely calm. And I'm like freaking out, Like I turn around and I see KC, and we like catch eyes, and I'm like start like waving my arms, like, "Hey, get the camera up, like film this," like trying to give him the like do something with that camera now. And so then I end up. I can tell that he's getting the camera ready or whatever, so I'm like, cool, we're good. I turn around, I start to knock an arrow, and I hear KC coming behind me. I'm like, no, just film me, I'm like, because this pig is close to me. And so he hears the pig, right, and realizes that it is close to me. It's not like 50 yards or whatever.
Yeah, I thought
right?
you and I were about to go on a stalk, but then I heard the pig, and I did the old triangulation thing in my head of like, oh, that pig is real close to Tyler.
There ain't much of a triangle here. It's like a line.
That's right. It's a very acute angle in this calculation.
Yeah.
the tangent is very small.
Yeah. So he stops and starts filming me or whatever. So this pig comes through the palmetto. I tried to get my GoPro on. I almost messed the thing up by doing that, but I think I got it on. I can't remember if it worked or not. I was having trouble with the GoPro. And then I clip on, and right as I clip on, he just like slowly walks out into my window, which at 10 yards, my window is about 1.5 feet probably, which is weird. But when the pig's at 20, his whole body's in that window still, so like it's plenty of space. And anyway, he stopped right in that window, and I could see his back, about 4 to 6 inches of his back, probably like 6 inches in his ears. And that was it. And so I was like, I knew, at 20 yards, I feel good about where his vitals are in that grass. And then I also feel good about like being high enough above the grass that I'm kind of shooting down into just a couple of pieces right at the end, and not getting deflection. Dude, I shoot, squeal, and we both listen. And like, I turn around to KC and I'm like, I think he is dead right there. Like, I think he piled up. And you're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he did too. And so we walk over, and we probably walked like 30 yards, and he was right there. We saw him.
That pig was dead in less than 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And we got to him in, I don't know, a minute and a half, and he wasn't even twitching.
No.
Like, done.
Heart shot.
Like, that's as dead as things get.
I smoked him, dude.
Smoke City.
It was Smoke City. I think I said that,
Yeah.
Yeah, heart shot. And I was like, I was pumped, man. That was really cool. And I didn't know at first if it was the same pig that I had hit,
I thought it was going to be just
too.
because of the situation. Like, why would there be a boar hog walking slow, like in the general area of where we expected the pig to go?
I have thoughts about why that is now. Mm-hmm. So we find the pig. We do the kind of like, YouTube video interview kind of deal with it and talk about what happened and show the pig a little bit. And we're sitting there by the pig, and we hear something moving, and we look at each other, and I'm like, dude, that is a pig for sure. Because it's so thick in there, like, we can't see very far.
Well, we saw some moo cows go by.
Yeah. And
there's some wild cows down in this river bottom.
Yeah.
Film them because Tyler gets kind of weird about cows sometimes. And tell you what, like, you come around the corner on one of them big old mamas, it might be kind of weird.
Oh, yeah.
But,
guarantee you.
Then, like, this noise was not that.
I don't like cows.
Like in
I'll tell you
general.
that right now. No.
Outside of milk, you're
we
not a
need
cow
buffalo
fan.
and deer on the plains,
That's right.
man. Get out of here, cows. I'm making some dairy farmers mad right
That's
now.
it, dude.
I actually love cereal and milk, so I guess we do like cows a little bit. But so anyway, we hear this noise, and we know it's bigger than just like a coon probably. Mm-hmm. Could be those cows, but they've already passed like a few minutes before, so we're like, and they were on a mission. So I was like, I don't think that was those cows. That's got to be a pig. Mm-hmm. We sit there, and like KC is kind of watching. I turned down this trail because I think it's coming down this trail potentially that's like a tunnel that comes right to me. It was like the pig that I shot was on that trail going, and he was going. and then And so like I get knocked on and I'm like ready to shoot a pig at like 10 yards, like between the eyes down this trail, you know? And so KC's kind of watching my like 3 o'clock, I guess, because there's another area around this bush that they could come around. And he's like giving some like, we're giving a couple little, you know, and like he's giving some squeals and stuff, or he had been or was or whatever. And anyway, so it kind of gets quiet and we sit there for a minute and I'm like, you know what, let's just walk around the edge of this brush and just see. And I could like line this out little by little, and I don't remember it all, how it all went down, but I do know at one point we get a little bit further back in there and we hear another sound and I'm like, that's a pig. And it's just walking out in front of us somewhere right here in this thick brush, you know? And KC like gives we stand there for a second. He gives like a good squeal. He does a good job of it.
That's
like
probably what I heard then.
It probably is.
Yeah,
Yep. And he does it like maybe like 2 squeals or something like that. And all of a sudden, like at like 15 yards, we hear movement. And we look out, and this pig is walking away, and we're like both like ah, and it's like it's going away. You know,
It was very surprising how close it was.
It was, and he had like when we first heard it, he goes, "I called him up." Or something like that, you know? And then I look and I can see its butt going back straight away from us at like 15 yards. I'm like, dude, it's big. It's a big one. And so it's like walking away and I'm trying to see if I can get a shot. I'm like, no, it's gone. So we got to go around. We go around and we start kind of tailing this thing up. We can't find it or see it anywhere. And we're just kind of like walking through these little openings in the brush. And all of a sudden we both at the same time look over and there's like this like, daylight or whatever right there. And we're like, creek crossing right there. Like and so we start walking out. You can see this all on video. Like we're going to release this video hopefully the week of like the 7th or whatever, somewhere in there. And we can see that that's a place that potentially this thing's gone. So we start walking down this trail to where it opens up by the creek and there's a creek crossing. We get like to this weird barbed wire fence that's just a one strand that's broken. That's confusing. And I cross over it.
Because whenever you're stalking pigs, you aren't paying attention to the 2-yard obstacle.
No.
You're paying attention to what is 20, 30 yards ahead of you.
Yeah.
And it's a good way to walk up on.
It's one of them deals where like your booty hole tightens up right when you see it because you're like, man, I could have been running right into that single strand right there.
Man,
real
imagine
bad.
chasing them with shotguns down there.
Bad.
It's full-fledged.
Bad. Anyway, so I step over it. As I step over it, I see a pool of blood on the ground. And at the same time, as soon as it's all like almost the same moment, I see the pig walking away, like kind of limping or whatever. And I at that point I knew it was the first one I'd shot. And so like I go drawing back. KC, you can see it like he sees it all happening too at the same time. And like the camera, he's just like, ah, you
Well,
can see
I
it
saw
freak out.
you like go into like shooter mode, and I was like, oh crap, I don't know what he's shooting at. You know, it's like, let me zoom the camera and just find what he's trying to see, you know?
Yeah.
And
then you're still at the barbed wire fence.
And I saw the pool of blood, the same pool of blood. Something about like having to like lean over the barbed wire. You
Yeah.
see that blood and you're like, oh gosh, it's that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so the pig had dipped down into the creek and I could see most of it. And so, dude, I was thinking about this morning. I'm not 100% which pin I shot, but I'm pretty sure I shot the 30.
Really?
I'm almost 100% sure I shot the 30.
It was the right one.
Yeah. And so I pull back, and KC finally gets over that barbed wire and straightens up on this pig. And I'm like, you ready? And he goes, yeah. And I shoot, and I'm pretty sure I was using the 30. And the pig runs down the creek up this hill, and you see immediately like this thing is toast. You know what I mean? And basically like dies in sight right there.
Makes it halfway up and just doesn't have what it takes to get the rest of the way up.
Yeah.
And just kind of founders out right there and then dives off back down
like
to the creek.
right next to the actual water of the creek. So, I mean, it made for some cool footage and pics and stuff, dude.
The light was good.
Oh, it was
cool.
awesome, dude. Like that, and I was just like, man, this is something I won't forget, man. Mm-hmm. Like, and that was the pig I had hit. So when we got up there to look at the pig where it had been hit, and I actually smoked that pig. Especially if I'd have been shooting it broadside, right? Mm-hmm. Like basically in the triangle, where like right below the shoulder blade, probably. And but it was angled pretty hard quarter, and it came out like in a weird spot, which was like over. You think it was over the spine?
Yes.
I think so too.
That pig, so it was at a hard quarter away from you. You can look on the footage. I'm on Tyler's right filming. So it's already a fairly decent quarter away for me as a camera guy. You were probably shooting 6 or 8 feet to the left of me. Maybe not that much. Maybe like 4 to 6 feet. So even more of a quarter. You hit it in the triangle. Its head is down eating corn, and it doesn't move at all. So if that pig had lifted its head, it might have stoned it right there.
I thought the same thing.
But it
dude.
exited like at the top of the pig's left ear. So you went in, hit single lung, and then went through like the neck roast of the hog and exited at the ear above the skull.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, and there was a ton of blood on both sides of this pig. Like, it was not going to live much longer.
Oh, there was like blood bubble, like if you've hunted and have shot animals in the lungs, you know this, but like there'll be like this frothy bubble stuff that comes kind of gross, right?
Yeah.
But like that was on the side of the pig. And when you shot it that second time, I thought that was the result of the second shot.
It
but
wasn't,
it was
though.
already on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the actual exit was ahead of that, like right near the shoulder. But yeah, so like this, where we see that, and something that I started thinking of is a couple different things that I have thinking as I'm looking back on this is, we watched that video again, and I realized where I should have put it. And so in a darker scenario on pigs, what you lose is the fact that like underneath the very sides of the pig, things get real dark, right? There's actually like a sizable amount of brisket and chest down there, and that's just black on a pig that you almost like don't even see when you're, zoned in trying to shoot. So like overall, I think I need to shoot a little bit lower on pigs.
I think I'm the same way. I think hit pigs high a lot. And not high like going to lose them, but high on the body.
So yeah, it's like it can be where you aimed, and you're still like, when it runs off, you're like, whoa, that thing's looking kind of high right there. Another thing that I was telling Michael and Eric this morning is like a pig was designed by God to be in a like feeding position at all times pretty much, right? So when you look at a pig, a lot of the times, especially like sows and stuff, they got little front legs. They got shorter front legs with small shoulders. And like they literally like, I'm doing it for the guys here. You can't understand probably. I try to explain it, but like basically the rear and the rump sits up kind of higher than the rest of the body because they're angled down to root because that's how they eat. And then they're always eating, right? They do a lot of eating. So
what car guys would call rake.
Rake. So
Rake.
put your spoiler on the back. And
So they're higher in the rear than they are in the front end. It gives them leverage. And they're also designed to, you see the thickets they live in, they're designed to tunnel through that stuff.
Yeah, so they need to be low to do that.
Whereas a deer has the ability, like hogs cannot raise their head above their shoulders. Like they are built like a rhino. It's the same build, right? So that like where a deer can lift its head like quite a ways above its shoulders, right? And so they just function different ways.
Yeah, and I think that build on a quartering away, like I feel confident in a quartering away shot on a pig because you're missing, like especially on boars, you're missing like the gristle and stuff like that, and just the big beefy shoulders. But like you still have to consider the fact that build where they're aimed down, like you're going to exit higher on the offside on a quarter away, so you have to shoot low,
especially from the ground.
Yeah,
hogs might be an amplified version of like having to understand elevated versus on the ground shots. Like for instance, your follow up shot on that hog that you shot was elevated because it was down in the creek. I bet that pig was 10 foot lower than us, maybe something like that. Maybe. And the arrow went in it like almost parallel. Like the arrow didn't go in high and come out low, even though we were high. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, it is strange. And I don't know, something to think about. Like if you're a pig hunter or you want to hunt pigs, like if you're going to shoot that quartering away, I think it's like imperative to shoot low and maybe even aim at that like shadowy brisket underneath. And I started looking at the video of that pig and I was like, man, there is a considerable amount of space for chest space there that I'm not even considering when I go to put the pin on the pig. So something to think about there. Another thing I was thinking about this morning is the reason that boar was there that I shot was because I think that sow was in there. I think he smelled her or something and just stayed there around her.
I kind of wondered if he was just bedded over there and wasn't with the first group and just happened to be there.
Maybe,
I don't know.
maybe. I was thinking because he was headed in the direction that we ended up jumping that sow.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way he was walking. And I was just thinking he was trailing maybe all the sows that came through just a second ago or whatever.
We always called that a satellite boar, kind of like satellite bulls.
Yeah.
They kind of do the same thing. They just kind of hang out in the area that sows are in. They don't really hang out with the group, but they can always kind of smell them and keep tabs on them.
Yeah, it makes sense because he was a big boar, but he wasn't like a giant. You know what I mean?
He's probably like 150, but thin because it was summer. The sow you shot, we thought was a boar when you shot her because she was considerably bigger than all the other ones, came in by itself behind the big group and was just being a bully.
Mad the whole time.
And she probably weighed 175 or so, decent-sized pig. So it was weird to walk up there and it not be a boar.
I know, dude. I thought the same thing. But I don't know. It was just a cool night, man. I had a good time last night, dude.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I know. And it was hot, but like, I don't know. The heat is only bad when you're thinking about it, really. Like if you're all up in the pigs, it's not as front of mind, really, And got to fling some arrows. This is something some people are interested in. I know you probably don't care to talk about it a whole lot because you just don't geek out about this stuff too much. But tell us about your arrow setup and what you were shooting at those pigs.
So shooting a Bowtech SR350, which is a fast bow. So Eric said I was shooting 282 at the bow shop. I don't remember what it was.
How much do those arrows weigh?
The arrows weigh...
Well, your total arrow weight.
504.
504.
Yeah.
And that's an IBO of 341, right?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
No, 350.
Yeah. Oh, SR350.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then.
I'm shooting faster than what you could shoot with most other bows.
Yes.
So, like, what that means is with a 504 grain arrow, I got some energy. And, so I don't have to be shooting like a super heavy arrow, but I'm shooting, it's a 4-fletch Vector ZMR, which is like their kind of lighter offering out of the two that they offer. And the Broadhead is like the biggest 3-blade mechanical that I can find pretty much. I mean, especially when you look at just it being well made, but it's a Grim Reaper. It's called a Whitetail Special. And that's what I shot. I shot all 4 of them last night. I had a sever. I had the only arrow I didn't shoot in my quiver last night. I had a sever on it, and I just didn't shoot it.
Yeah.
But I was getting ready to. That's for sure. And what's crazy is I walked back out of there with 5 arrows. Somehow I had found every single arrow.
How about that?
Pretty awesome.
I did a little quick calculation here with a 29-inch draw length, shooting an IBO of 350. Peak draw weight at 70. You're probably actually like 71 or 2.
I'm 70.
So I was on the dot.
Yeah,
70.
I've always shot 71, but I don't think they are able to get it to 71 for some reason. It's like an individual bow thing, I think.
Yeah, arrow weight 304. Now, of course, these are all things that can be slightly subjective because of all kinds of factors. But
you put 504 or 304?
504.
Okay.
Overall, the arrow speed on this calculator is 282. There you go.
Dadgone, we got a smart.
That's fast, dude. That's real fast.
Dude, that's Broadhead fast.
Yeah. And then your kinetic energy is 88.98, so pretty much 89, which is really good. I think anything over 80 is what I consider good. Your momentum is 2.807, which is real good.
Dang, dude.
Yeah, you're killing stuff. You had 2 complete pass-throughs on pigs and then a pass-through on the third shot. And that arrow was buried to the fletchings on one side and had the tippy-toppy poking out the other side.
Yeah, and went completely, went in right, like in front of the back hip and came out in front of the front shoulder. So
you
hit
went through
a lot
bone
of stuff
on that.
Yeah.
To come out.
When I pulled it out, I had to jerk real hard on it.
Yeah.
And went through a lot of internals as well. And so, I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't want to say this and all of a sudden just be the guy who shoots a bunch in the shoulder and doesn't find any of them this year, but like it is going to be hard for now, at least, to get me away from shooting whitetail special. I might even take one to Colorado.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Spooky.
Spooky McWill.
Mick Wills. Now, I'm not saying this to rain on your parade at all, but you did shoot the same arrow setup at a big bore and hit him in the shoulder, and we didn't recover him a few months back. So, like, it's not a foolproof thing.
I actually shot a hybrid, the Grim Reaper hybrid.
Yeah, but so a little bit better penetration potential probably. But, yes, I don't want to speak for you. I'll just say what I think about it, and you tell me if you agree that much. There has been a pendulum type shift where people have gotten so polarized against mechanical broadheads nowadays because they did get a bad rap, and yes, you probably don't need to shoot one if you're shooting low poundage and low speed and lower arrow weights, but you put that thing on the front of a good setup and it's going to kill in most situations. There are some situations it won't. There's also some situations a fixed blade won't. And you can't prepare for everything. Man,
I'll be honest. If I'd have shot a small fixed blade or a smaller fixed blade through that first pig, there's a good chance, especially on a 2-blade with small bleeders or something, there's a good chance that thing just carries over the top of through the neck and hits the top of one lung or whatever maybe, and you just never see that pig ever again.
Yeah.
And because with that Grim Reaper, you got 3 giant blades going off all different directions. You just never know how that 2-blade's going to enter and be, and as it goes through there. So, that's something for sure. But I don't know, the first shot I shot was intentionally a quartering away shot. It's what I wanted to shoot. I'm going to shoot a giant broadhead.
You told Eric to wait on that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Isaac tells us or says a lot is if you don't just take better shots is what he says. You know what I mean? And so what he means, and this is the thing, and Eric makes a good point here too. If you're willing to rush a shot, and let me say rush a shot in quotations here. If you're willing to rush a shot and shoot a broadside shot because you either don't think you're going to get a quartering away or you're not willing to chance letting that thing spook before it gets to a quartering away, then you're saying I'm willing to take a chance that I'm going to hit the scapula. You know what I mean? I'm going to hit a shoulder blade. And so if you're shooting that broadside shot, you're saying I'm willing to potentially hit the scapula. And if you are willing to do that, then that's fine. But if you're patient, a lot of times you can end up with a quartering away shot and have a great angle into all the vitals. So technically, if we're shooting broadside shots, you're willing to have something like that potentially mess up, right? And so what Eric's point is yes, and people don't want to take the blame for making a bad shot.
Never.
You know what I mean?
Dude, okay, so we've been posting on TikTok. I hate it. But y'all just people on TikTok love to watch Broadhead videos and talk about it and rage and all this kind of stuff. And it's funny because we've had a couple of them get a lot of views. And one of them has 600 comments or something like that, okay? And there'll be 7 comments. It's I'll never shoot a Rage. They don't open. And then the next one will be I'll never shoot a Grim Reaper. They don't open. And I lost 3 deer. It's how do you know the thing didn't open if you didn't find the deer, dude? The reason you didn't find the deer because you shot it in the guts, This, nobody wants to admit that they didn't hit where they wanted to.
Yeah.
And you and I talked about this last night. It's hard to really tell where you hit
That's
something.
right. Dude, this thing's moving. My arrow's moving at 282 feet per second. And it's dark when you're shooting things a lot of times. It's getting low light when you're shooting at deer and stuff all the time. The deer moving when you hit them sometimes. It happens so quick. In Illinois, when I shot that deer, I literally shot a buck at 8 yards, smoked him. Smoke City, right? I thought I might have missed him.
Yeah.
I didn't know for sure that I actually hit that deer because of the way he reacted. It was a 2-blade. It went through quick, and he took off. And I didn't see any blood, nothing. And it happened so quick that I didn't know if I hit him. I couldn't find my arrow down there. And so I didn't see any blood or anything. And it just happened so quick, you just don't see it. And so it could have easily, if I smoked the deer and I think I might have missed it, you could easily miss by 3 or 4 inches where you thought you hit him because you just didn't see it right. You know what I mean?
Like last year, I was filming, right? But we did that wind bump for Hunter, and he missed that buck, supposedly because of a sight.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. We'll give it to him.
All right. You can. And I thought he missed high, but he missed low.
Yeah.
And that's a whole deer width that I was wrong.
It's hard to see, dude.
It is.
It's hard to see. So,
It is.
And that's the thing, man. Like you said, if you don't see the deer dead, how do you know where you actually hit that deer 100%? I mean, you got thoughts about it, but all the time, you and I will watch back footage from shooting a deer or something and be like, man, that's actually better than I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was high or whatever, and it ended up being pretty good, and or vice versa or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a thing, and I think that what Eric's point is, people just they're not willing to be a bad hunter. This is a he-man sport or whatever, people you gotta be the best hunter and you gotta have the best opinions and stuff. And really, that causes a lot of dudes to just not want to, submit to the fact that they made a mistake. Dude, it happens. We make mistakes, man.
You ever seen the movie Quigley Down Under? See, any of y'all ever seen Quigley Down Under?
I don't think so.
It's old mustache man. What is his name?
Brian Box.
Not Brian Box. Brian's dad. What is his name? I can't remember.
Brian
He's a
Senior.
Hawaii 5-0 guy. Somebody's yelling at me right now. But anyways, Quigley Down Under is a really cool movie, and it's about a lot of stuff. But this guy's real good with pistols, right? He's kind of like a cowboy type or whatever, but it's a little bit more modern than the old cowboy days. He's down in Australia. Well, he gets in a tight spot or whatever, and he doesn't have his pistols, and they get in this shoot-off thing, and he gets this long rifle, and he shoots 1,000 yards and hits a bucket or something. I don't remember. But then the guy who he beats in this shoot-off says, I thought you weren't any good at shooting a rifle. And Quigley just says, no, I just said I ain't ever had much use for one. They can shoot one just fine.
Yeah.
So, all right. So it's say that to say this. If you're talking about people aren't afraid to admit that they made bad shots or take ownership of that, as an archery hunter, you have to take ownership of the fact that you are using a less effective method of take. Bar none. I don't care if it's Aaron Snyder. I don't care who you are. Mm-hmm. You are better with a rifle at 20 yards than you are with a bow. It's just plain and simple.
Yeah.
If you know how to operate a rifle. Okay, I know somebody's like, well, but it's the truth. If you have a 30-30 open sight at 20 yards, you can probably hit a dime most times.
Yeah. Dude, I went, one of our buddies, his name's Cody, I went with him one time, just walking through river bottoms with a rifle, 243. And dude, I've shot a lot of guns, right? But at 70 yards, I'm shooting pigs on the run with a scoped rifle and knocking them straight down. Mm-hmm. It's just, I can shoot a bow well and I can shoot a gun well, and there's no question.
Oh, yeah.
There's no question. And then you look at lethal range, shock value or whatever that bullet brings, as opposed to, it's just there's no question. And that's what you're 100% right. We are doing something that's less than lethal. And so maybe we should afford each other some grace if we're all going to partake in this bow hunting thing.
Sounds good to me.
Not just with hunting, but within life in general. Mm-hmm. You make mistakes. The only way to get better from those mistakes is acknowledging it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just with hunting, it's anything with life.
Yeah. Well, Hunter Biden, I thought you were saying Hunter within Hunter. No, you said hunting. Yeah, my bad. I thought you were saying he needs some grace, man.
He probably does. Don't we all, right? Golly, dude. I don't even know what to say.
Sorry, y'all. I shouldn't have done that,
That was
man.
a good one. That's good. What else did you learn last night, Tyler? Anything?
I learned, I think I got most of my learnings on the table already.
Did you make mechanicals great again last night?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Dude, for sure. And if you were into making mechanicals great again, you need to go over to theelementwild.com and get you a T-shirt. Matt ordered one today, and we got it out to him today, like
Matty
same
Matthews,
day.
Matty Matthews.
Dude, for sure. So if you're into that, it's kind of a joke, right? Like mechanicals are just fine. So are fixed. If you shoot them good, do whatever you have the most confidence in. But sometimes it gets a little tiring hearing people rag on mechanicals, and you want to make them great again. So go over there and make your statement. Let it be known which side of the political aisle you're going to stand on, and get you a Make Mechanicals Great Again shirt.
Eric, what's your favorite Element shirt?
That's a good question because I like a lot of them.
Aw.
Dang, dude, we're such
I
good
would
designers.
say the black Illinois rack Element shirt.
Yeah.
Or the olive oak tree shirt.
Gotcha.
The OG, dude.
Is the Illinois rack like because it's like a Central Illinois deer?
Yeah, that and I think it just looks pretty good. East Central.
He's pretty good looking.
If I kill a Central Ohio buck and put it on a shirt, would you buy it?
Oh, I'd buy it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Golly, dude.
Got to go do it.
It's good support.
We got a big buck on camera there.
Yeah, we did.
Well, let's go.
Who knows what he's doing
Who
these
knows,
days?
man?
Who knows
I know.
where that camera is?
We sent Michael in there to find the camera. He said he wasn't there.
That's right. I forgot
But he
about
said
that.
it was a cool spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it a tough
About 4
go?
inches of snow, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about the distance to that camera? Was it okay? Was it too hard? Not too hard?
Not at all.
good.
Would you say it
dude.
was far, though?
That's good.
Or no?
It depends on which way you come in. I came in from like a different angle than you guys, I think, and it was pretty easy to get there.
Yeah.
Going from the north?
I don't remember. I
Yeah.
came in from some fields,
Yeah.
down some power lines.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Gotcha.
Wasn't too bad.
Not too bad.
How about
Not
that?
at all.
Not
Yeah.
too bad.
We did that on a. We dropped that on a Map Scout challenge a couple years back. This year we are actually doing all eScout stuff for that. We decided to not direct resources out too much. Traveling right now is just expensive with the price of gas. So we did some eScout stuff, and we have a new eScout video out. It's a Montana eScout. And if you have not looked at Montana for whitetail, maybe don't look, but still go watch the video because we might want to hunt there one of these days, and we don't want you there. But no, I'm just kind of joking. Montana is a huge state with a ton of deer, a ton of whitetails, and they don't get a ton of attention. And I think that you could go there and potentially shoot the deer of your lifetime without a lot of competition. So go check out the Montana eScout video.
You could have a
if you
fun
haven't.
at the very least.
At the
You know
very
what I mean?
least, you could catch a trout and shoot a deer. So come on.
Oh, man.
What are we doing
Let
here?
me do that, dude.
What-
Put a
what are
hopper
we
on, be fly fishing with my left hand, shooting deer with my right.
Mouth tab style.
Golly, dude. Okay,
Just-
so
you got a 10
switch
car
those.
here.
Yeah.
You got a left
So
hand with
right
your bow,
hand,
mouth
yeah.
tab.
Right-handed fly rod and mouth tab and left hand. Yeah. You could definitely
Sick.
do it. Dude, how sick.
Where's
are
your
they?
grizzly spray at when you do that?
Let me ask you this. Sometimes when you're podcasting, and you got these points that you want to make, and you start making one, you get to the end of it, and you got this other point coming up in your mind, and then you forget before you get to the end of the point that you're making what the point is, and you got to like mad gab for like 2 sentences, and you hope that in that 2-sentence time period you get what you're going to talk about, right? You understand the next point, and at the same time you got one eye, it's your left eye looking to the left, and your right eye looking to the right. That's how you practice for this fly fishing / bow hunting
That's
thing.
it.
At the same
That's
time.
it, dude. Yeah. Well, guys, remember those techniques. Understand which hand to use what in. Make mechanicals great again, and remember, this is your element.
Live it.
The new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook Wild Game Recipes for the Grill, Smoker, Campfire, and Camp Stove is out on April 24th and is available for pre-order now. Here is your book for everything that's best cooked or eaten outside. From grilling to open fire cooking to Dutch ovens to smokers to barbecue to backpacking meals to how to pull off the perfect fish fry, with pit stops along the way for lessons about Ice Age cooking methods and the best 5 ways to construct a cooking fire you can be proud of. And of course, We're focusing on wild game and fish here with over 100 recipes, including stuffed venison burgers 3 ways, wild duck with ahi verde sauce, a jerky made with cola, a gin and tonic made with fire-charred lemons, and grilled frog legs made with a sticky sweet sauce. This ain't your normal cookbook, so be prepared to be surprised. Pre-order your copy now. For more info, visit themeateater.com.